Bobby Buntrock, most known for playing the role of Harold Sport Baxter on the popular sitcom Hazel, was tragically killed at age 21 in 1974. He was a child actor who appeared in a multitude of TV shows, from comedies to westerns. Buntrock's tragic death was a heartbreaking incident for everyone who knew and loved him. The cause of his death is even more unnerving than it first appears, as the roots of it stem back 2 years before his death, in a disaster that Buntrock had no sway over. Stay with us as we take a look at the life of the child actor and the cause of his tragic death. A child star. Bobby Buntrock was born in Denver, Colorado, to Robert and Maxine Buntrock. He had a younger sister, Stella. At 3 years old, the family moved to Whittier, California. It was the family's neighbors who urged Buntrock's parents to get their son into acting. They saw the young Buntrock as a cute and charismatic little lad, perfect for TV. Their neighbors even sent a photographer to have his picture taken so they could send it to an agent. After much convincing, Buntrock's parents eventually agreed and sent the photo to Marcella Bell. The agent auditioned Buntrock and signed him on the spot. Shortly after signing, he landed his first role on an episode of Wagon Train in 1959, alongside the iconic Bette Davis. Buntrock was 4 years old at the time. The following year, he appeared in an episode of Westinghouse Desilu Playhouse and landed bit roles in two of the biggest hit comedies on TV, The Donna Reed Show and Mr. Ed, in 1961. He was then cast in the TV show Hazel. This made him a familiar face on television. The days on set were long for the young actor and required he had a tutor on set. His sister followed in his footsteps and also took her own shot at acting as a child. She appeared in several TV commercials. Hazel ended its run in 1966 with its fifth and final season. Buntrock also made 3 appearances on the Western TV show The Virginian, acting alongside Albert Salmi. In 1967, after his third appearance on The Virginian, he retired in order to live a more normal life. Sometime after his retirement from acting, the family moved to South Dakota. In 1970, Bobby joined the National Guard. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to Facts Verse if you haven't already. Hazel was Buntrock's claim to fame. Hazel was a sitcom that followed a spunky live-in maid named Hazel Burke, played by Oscar winner Shirley Booth, and her employers, the Baxter family. It ran for 5 seasons with 154 episodes in primetime. The show first aired on September 28, 1961, and ran until April 11, 1966. It was based on the single-panel comic strip of the same name by cartoonist Ted Key, which appeared in the Saturday Evening Post. Bobby Buntrock played the role of Harold Sport Baxter. Don DeFore and Whitney Blake played the roles of Harold's parents, George and Dorothy Baxter. In the 5th and final season of Hazel, which aired between 65 and 66, the series was retooled after DeFore and Blake were dismissed, and Harold lived with his uncle Steve Baxter, played by Ray Fulmer, Aunt Barbara, played by Lynn Borden, and cousin Susie, played by Julia Benjamin. The show about the busybody maid became a huge hit. Buntrock's tragic death. On the evening of April 7, 1974, Buntrock, at 21 years old, was driving to visit a friend. He had to drive over what's been described as a Y-shaped bridge. Unknown to him was that the bridge had been severely damaged by the Black Hills flood of 1972. It had been under construction for 2 years, but there were simply no safety barriers, signs, or anything to alert drivers to the fact that between the 2 lanes of the bridge, there was a gaping hole large enough for someone to drive a full-size car into. The Black Hills flood of 72, also known as the Rapid City flood, was the most detrimental flood in South Dakota history. There was severe flooding to residential and commercial properties in Rapid City, when the Canyon Lake Dam became clogged with debris. This caused it to fail on June 9th, resulting in 238 deaths, 5 missing persons, and 3,000 injuries. But no one could have expected this flood would be the cause of another tragic death 2 years later. Buntrock was the unlucky driver who attempted to drive over the severely damaged bridge in Keystone, South Dakota, completely unaware of the danger. The large hole in the middle of the bridge had at least 10 to 15 feet of water in it from the creek. His car slid off the side of the road and flipped over into the water. The accident was quickly reported, but rescue crews didn't arrive in time. The divers that arrived at the scene eventually reached the car and discovered Buntrock's body. He had tried to escape, but he had been unable to pry the door open far enough due to the mud and sheer force of the water. Other reports claim the sides of the hole blocked him from getting the car door open more than 4 inches or so. Either way, he was unable to escape the submerged vehicle. His former co-star, Shirley Booth, who played Hazel, was distraught when she heard the news. They had grown close over the course of the show. Bobby Buntrock is buried in Mountain View Cemetery in South Dakota. The cemetery is known as the only one in the world with a view of Mount Rushmore. Be prepared for such a scenario. If you find yourself in a car accident, specifically landing in water, first and foremost, don't undo your seatbelt before you hit the water. If you're traveling at speed, the water is more like a wall than a cushion. However, do try to open your windows as soon as possible, as this is your best chance for a safe escape. The pressure of the water will make it almost impossible to open your doors. You'll have a couple minutes before the power window controls fail, so do your best to get the windows open. If you're able to get a window partially open, you should be able to force it down manually by leveraging your weight against the top rim. And release all automatic door locks, as you may have to open the doors later. Once you get the windows open, undo your seatbelt and have your passengers do the same. Then exit through the windows. In some cars, rear windows may not go down all the way. Passengers may have to exit through the front windows as well. If you can't get the windows down in time, do your best not to panic. You can still get out safely. Try to break the windows, although this may be too difficult. This is a good reason to always have a tool in the car that can be used to break any of the car windows during an emergency. If this doesn't work, you'll have to wait until the car has mostly filled with water. You'll need to allow the car to fill with water to approximately neck height, so the pressure on the outside and inside of the doors equalizes. You should then be able to open the door. Air will be trapped near the car's ceiling, so keep your head and the heads of your passengers up near the roof. Once the car has filled sufficiently, tell everyone to take a deep breath in. Open as many doors as necessary and swim to the surface, breathing out as you do so. If you exit from the same door as someone else, link arms with them so you can make sure you both get to the surface safely. Now it's time to hear from you. What did you find most shocking about Bobby Buntrock's tragic death? That it was caused by a flood 2 years earlier, or that there were simply no safety regulations around the severely damaged bridge? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts Verse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.